Nice to see you all again this week of our weekly cooking show. I'm Lara Liga, I'm here the head chef at You Came Again, and today I have two delicious recipes for you. Hello. Always, first of all, always if you have a question, just put it in the comments, and most likely I will see it and then I can answer it straight away. So today I have two recipes for you. One is the cherry cheesecake, and one is cauliflower crust pizza. Most of you have probably seen the pictures which we have posted before, so you knew what's coming, and either you have your items ready, or otherwise we are always saving the live, and you can still get your items, ingredients, and then cook it whenever you want later on. But now I show you how to do it, so you get an understanding, and I hope you learn something and have a delicious lunch afterwards. So now we start with the cauliflower steaming. So you can't see it, but over here I have my little pot and a little hot plate. So I'm just having a pot like that, and I put a little bit of water inside and switch it on so it can heat up now. And then I hope everyone got their cauliflower ready as a rice format. So I hope you can see it. It's like basically all grinded up, and you can either grind it yourself if you have a food processor, or like a hand how do you call it like a hand grinder kind of, or you can even buy it in the supermarket already in this size, or I saw it also in fresh and frozen. So there are plenty of ways how to get your cauliflower as small as that, and it's always a good old way. Even you can use a knife and basically chop it up, which takes a little bit of time, but it's a great way, like easy to do, so everyone can do it. So I switch on the little bit of water, so we're basically steaming this cauliflower rice now, and I have like a very thin mesh strainer, so in that way it will not fall out into the water, and I just put it in and I steam it for around 10 minutes, and so we do that while we're starting with the cheesecake. So I'm gonna basically switch between both items, because we want to have everything done in approximately an hour, and then both eat it together. For the cheesecake, I will in between put it in the freezer just for it to set faster, but it depends on how much time you have. You can just put it in the fridge as well later on, but I will get to that when we're at that point. Then it's important to switch on your stove on high heat, approximately 200 degrees if you have, and forced fan is always a good option, depends a little bit on your oven. And just switch it on now, so it can heat up, and once the crust is ready, we can directly bake it. Alright, so our cauliflower is steaming, and let's start with the cheesecake. So for the cheesecake, there are different options. I just took, also it's grinded already. These are just basically any kind of biscuits you like. You can even use Oreo biscuits because they're vegan as well, and if you want to have a gluten-free cheesecake, just use your favorite gluten-free biscuits. So that's it. You just need to get them small like that, and then at the same time we need to you can use either a food processor as well. You can use what did I use the other day? I used a potato masher, works also great, or otherwise you can use a kitchen towel, just put the cookies inside, and then just basically beat it till it gets small, and fine. Like, it doesn't need to be complete powder, so you can see I still have a few pieces of crunches inside, so it also, when you're biting on it, it still has a nice crunch to it. So yeah, just make it the way you like it. If anyone cooks directly with me, please let me know in the comments if I'm too fast, or if you want to know anything again, so you get everything on the way. So then I have vegan butter. So I'm just, yeah, well, I don't want to show it here. No, because it's liquid already, so that's important to have liquid butter so it can all incorporate. I'm just gonna use a glove. So just so it's very hygienic, but if you're at home, just wash your hands properly, and that's it. So, and before we do that step, I just want to talk quickly about the cake ring which I'm using. So, because in the description I told you different options, so I'm using 8-inch 20 centimeter cake ring, but use whatever you have at home. If you have a bigger cake ring, that's fine. Just understand that the cake, for example, the cake will be here till will be full, but if you have a larger one, it will be lower, but it's still gonna be as tasty as with this ring. Or if you don't have a ring at all, or don't want to cut, you can always use dessert glasses, or just basically any kind of glasses, for example like that. And instead of putting it all here inside, you would just put the mixture into your glasses, and you have the same thing, and then you can just spoon it out later on. So there are different options to use. So I have prepared my cake ring with some baking paper, and now I'm just gonna have my crumbles and the liquid butter. Use which brand you like, and yeah. So, and then I'm just gonna mix it. If you're fancy, you can even bake your own cookies, but this is like the fast way. Basically, you can get this cheesecake done within, let's say, 1.5 hours or so, from scratch. If you have visitors over now, as we're allowed to have visitors again, why not make a nice cheesecake for them? So that's it. Just mix it together, and then I'm just putting it into my cake ring. So, and then all I do is I distribute it evenly over the ground. And then a nice trick, if you have a measuring cup or even a small glass, you can use the lower side and just press it down so you get a nice even cake floor or cake base. And yeah, it's fast and looks pretty. So, and then just make sure the edges are nicely pressed together, so the cake mixture will not disappear. So that's it. I'm gonna quickly pop that into the fridge or freezer. It's up to you, you can use both. So it can start to get hard, because the butter, obviously, as soon as it gets cold, it will be firm again. I just put that quickly down, and then I will be back with for the cauliflower. So now I'm gonna have a look at my cauliflower rice. looks good already. So how long did I? Yeah, I think it was now exactly 10 minutes. Yeah, when you touch it, just make sure it's like soft, and then basically it's done. So I just switch it off and gonna put it on the side so it can cool down a little bit. I'm just gonna wash that bowl, put it back in so it can cool. Just one sec. So the rice is now inside my bowl, and I'm just putting it a little bit on the sides so it cools down a little bit faster. So, and I will keep it aside. So then we have our bowl. So this is basically, I will use that for the for the cheesecake mixture, and just have a medium-sized pot so you can fit everything inside. And I will start with the cream cheese. So I said in my comments that you can use either buy store-bought cream cheese, or you can make it yourself, where you just buy some vegan yogurt. I use coconut yogurt, and there are so many different brands, so just take a neutral flavor, like no vanilla, no sweetened, and then just hang it overnight. So this is basically my cream cheese now, and I just took the yogurt, mix it with some salt, and then I just put it in a tea towel like that and left it overnight, and then it basically takes out the moisture out of the yogurt, and yeah, then it gets a little bit firmer and thicker. So when you have 1 kg of yogurt, afterwards you will have 800 grams of cream cheese. It's the exact amount which we're having now for our cheesecake, which is perfect. And apart from that, it's also much cheaper than buying the actual cream cheese. So with the cauliflower rice, you just need to make sure that depending, like if you have steamed it, there's definitely a lot of moisture inside now, and if you have cooked it, there will be even more moisture. So what's important is that we strain it now, because we need to get out the moisture out of the cauliflower. So an easy way to do that, you just take a bowl and then take a fresh tea towel, and then you can put it inside carefully. By the way, we're here live in the UK Again kitchen, and if you want, I can give you a little tour later on, so you know where all the magic happens. Let me know. So that's basically all the rice, and then Wow, look at that. You can see that, yeah. So that's all the moisture which is inside the cauliflower rice. And in order to get a crisp pizza, we want to get that all out. So as you see, I just waited for around 5 minutes after steaming the cauliflower. So now it's not that hot anymore. It's still warm, but it's okay, like it's manageable. So that's a lot. All right. So have it. So I put that aside. And then back to my bowl. So I'm just gonna put it in. By the way, it will be one pizza. And obviously if you want to eat more, you can eat 2 pizzas or more. The good thing about this pizza is it's low carb, so you don't need to feel guilty. So, looks a little bit like kind of flour after pressing out all the liquid. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the things together. I wrote my recipe down. If you watched last time, I forgot the sugar, so this time I'm gonna check each and every item. So I have my cauliflower rice. Then we need a binder. Usually you have eggs, but we don't use eggs, so we use vegan eggs. And I gave you 2 options. One is psyllium husk, and the other one is flaxseed meal. So I'm using psyllium husk today. You can get it in Coles. Maybe you need to search a little bit, but usually they have it. And yeah, so it's a very old kind of product, and it works very well if you need an egg replacement. So I put my psyllium husk here inside. It looks just like that. And then, so if you use psyllium husk, you take 1 tablespoon and then a 1/4 cup of water. And if you use flaxseed meal, you take 1 tablespoon of flaxseed meal and 3 tablespoons of water. So I'm taking a 1/4 cup and just put it in. And then you just mix it together basically. And quite quickly it will get a little bit slimy. Just mix it and it's already done. So it's so fast. This is how it looks. And yeah, that's it. Easy peasy. And then you just put it inside. Like, I have a very fine psyllium husk powder. There are different options in the market. There are also like kind of flakes, which might take a little bit longer because they need more time to hydrate. But if you have a fine powder, this one I think I got from Coles, it goes super quick. So then I have a 1/4 cup of almond meal. It's just ground almonds basically. And then I have salt, Italian herbs and nutritional yeast. All here. Goes in. And then I'm also gonna wear some gloves because now the messy part starts, making the dough. So wait, before you start that, make sure you have your baking tray ready. So I have 1 baking tray with parchment paper. Put the water aside, and then I'm just gonna mix everything properly. So the psyllium husk egg sticks together, so just make sure to break it down. and it becomes a little bit dough-like. It doesn't stick like exactly like a dough when you use flour, but it's quite nice. A little bit similar to the gnocchis we did last week. So you just mix it around, and then you can see it's kind of holding nicely together. So also the nutritional yeast is quite important in this way, because apart from the flavor, it gives also stability to the dough, because it absorbs more moisture, and that helps us to get like this dough consistency and to get a nice crust later on. So I just put it on top of my tray. And then let's make a pizza. So it's really sticking nice together. I'm happy with that. And then you can now shape which kind of pizza you want. I'm just gonna make a boring round one, but you can make it square, you can make a heart shape, and then also depending how thick you want it. Try to make it round. So, and then also another tip, same with the cheesecake, this kind of measuring cup is quite helpful, so you can make it evenly, and yeah, so it bakes properly, because it's always better to have it straight, because you get a better baking result. Make it a little bit thinner. Because then we have more from it. Okay, and then the edges, we're just putting them a little bit together so it looks nice. So the good thing about this pizza is it's gluten-free as well, so everyone can eat it. Okay, that looks good. Just make sure to not make it too thin, so it still can hold together, and that you can still basically take the single pieces in your hand. So now I'm gonna pop that into the oven. So it should be on high heat. So around 200 is good. And then, but like depends a little bit on your oven how strong it is, and then also some ovens brown more on the front side, so you might need to turn it around halfway. So that's why I'm gonna put it in now, leave it for a while, and then have a check after, like, so bake it at least for 20 minutes and then turn it around and see how it bakes. Anyways, you know your oven better, and you might need to turn it around before that. So I'm gonna put a little 20 minutes timer. So now we're gonna start with the cheesecake. Just let me get this cleaned up. do the mighty cheesecake. Back to our bowl, back to our cooking pan pot, and then we start with basically we put all our ingredients inside. I prepared them already, and first thing first is our cream cheese. So as I mentioned before, I made this myself. I just used yogurt and kept it overnight, and yeah, you can use also regular cream cheese which you can buy in some supermarkets. I saw in Woolies they sell vegan cream cheese. So, and then also a little bit depends on how the thickness of it. You might need to adjust a little bit the agar, but it should be good, more or less. So this is the thickness I'm having. It's a nice creamy mixture. So thank you. Thanks for watching. Then I have 250 grams of sugar. So I have a mix out of white and brown sugar. You can use like raw sugar. You can use whichever sugar you want. Just make sure to, like, obviously if you use a dark sugar it might affect the color, but taste wise should be just fine. Even stevia you can use. Before I was making sugar-free cheesecakes, and stevia worked just perfectly fine. Then I have lemon juice and lemon, so I have zest of a medium-sized lemon. I put it already inside, and then I squeezed the full lemon. Lemon always gives a nice fresh flavor, which is really something good in cheesecakes. And then I have soy milk, or any milk of choice. If you have watched the previous episodes, I always like soy milk. It's very easy and nice to work with and doesn't have such a strong own flavor. And then I have vanilla paste. So obviously there are thousands of different vanilla options. In cheesecake I would recommend to take a good quality vanilla, or even a vanilla pot, because it really makes a difference. So I have a good vanilla paste here which I'm using. So it's definitely, there are even like small vanilla pots inside, which is a great option. If you don't have it, you can still use your liquid vanilla flavoring. There is no problem with that, but just, yeah, the better the vanilla, the better is the taste of the cheesecake afterwards. And then I have 50 grams of agar, but I will start now putting it together and put it later on. Actually, I just put it directly in, mix it all over, and then whisk it. Like, it's good to have a spatula so it doesn't burn on the ground of the pot, but in order to mix it first, it's good to have a whisk, just to make it like a homogeneous mixture. So basically it's a one-pot recipe, which is nice. And the good thing is we don't have to bake it, because with cheesecake it's always like, okay, you need to be very careful with the color and the temperature, because if it gets too high you will not have that white kind of cheesecake. So whisk first properly till you know, okay, it's really nice homogeneous mixture, and then only switch on the heat. And then have your spatula ready, and basically swipe on the sides and swipe through over the floor. Because it's a quite thick mixture, so you need to be careful that we don't burn it from below. So what now happens inside is that we slowly heat it, and the whole mixture will get more liquid, and then the agar will get activated through the heat. Because the agar does basically the magic. Usually in a cheesecake the egg holds everything together, but because we don't have like a real egg inside which has the property of holding together, we need something else. So it's called cold cheesecake if it's not baked, and the, I would say, normal one is made with gelatin, and like instead of the gelatin we just use the agar, and it works just the same way, just perfectly fine. So there's really no need to harm an animal basically if you can have such a nice replacement, and it tastes so good. And yeah, so now already the cheesecake starts to get, or the whole cheese mixture starts to liquid up, and you see I'm just gonna swipe over the floor. You can check on the side how's your mixture going, because it needs to be really hot, like it should not boil, but it should be really hot. How hot should you have the stove for the pizza? So I said before around 200 degrees, and then you need to see, depending on how strong is your oven, if you need to reduce after a while, but for the first 20 minutes 200 degrees is a good benchmark. And what is the cheese in the pot? Yeah, exactly. So I just put the cream cheese and all the cheesecake ingredients inside the pot, including the agar, and heating it up now so we can activate the agar and basically use that as our firming agent inside the cheesecake instead of gelatin. Or if you have a baked cheesecake, you would use eggs to do the same thing. So agar is really an ingredient I can recommend having in your pantry, because if you do a lot of vegan cooking or baking, like, it's a really versatile and great product where you can replace gelatin and eggs with easily. It doesn't have any taste, and I think it's quite easy to get. Like, you can get it in any health store and wherever you find kind of vegan products. I don't think, like in the supermarket, only few might have it, but in any kind of green store or organic store, you usually always find agar. So now you see it's, I'm not sure, yeah, you can most likely see it. It's really, you can see the heat coming up. So I just reduce it to a minimum and quickly get my base. So first the liquid, or like the mixture, got more liquid due to the heat, and now as the agar activates, it gets more thick again. And I placed the base, for those who haven't been here, it's like a cookie crumble base. I placed it before in the freezer just to firm up and set already. And this way it also gets faster to finish the cake. Because I'm not sure if I can finish or like show you the cutting, but probably I will just come on half an hour later on again to show you how to cut the cake. So now it's getting really hot. You can still touch it on the side to see. It smells so good, especially the lemon. So there you really see like the lemon and the lemon zest gives such a great and fresh flavor to the cake. I definitely would not miss that step. If you don't have lemon, you can also use an orange to get like an orange flavor into your cake, which is great as well. Or even a grapefruit. All good. So but it's very important that you use your spatula to go over the floor of the pot in order to not get the cake burned. So that's it. And now I'm just gonna fill it into my form. So this recipe fits perfect for this cake mold. This is a 20 centimeter 8-inch cake mold, and then there are a lot of bubbles inside. So a small trick from the pastry: shake your cake. Through these movements, a lot of the air bubbles come up. It's not necessary, but like if you like I have a straight surface, it's a good way. Another trick is if you have a wood torch at home, you can just quickly go over it and all the bubbles will get busted basically. So that looks very nice. And that's it for the cheesecake. So now this one is going to the fridge or to the freezer again, and we just let it set. And once it's set, we can remove the ring. I will show you later on a trick how to remove these kind of rings. And for those of you who have used maybe glasses, you can just put the base of the cake here inside, and then just pour the liquid on top, leave some space because we also make a cherry topping. And if you have a flat tart ring, you can just do the same thing, it will be just more flat. So how do you know when the mixture is ready to pour? So when you start putting all the mixture together, it's like thick, so you mix it and it's like a thick mixture, and then you put it on the heat and it's starting to be very liquid because basically all the cheese melts. And then you continue stirring, and then through the heat the agar will get activated and it gets more thick. So and then you see on the when you touch your pot, you feel it's hot, and the mixture also releases some steam, so you can see it's really at a high heat. But you still need to continue mixing, and then you will realize that the mixture is basically thickening up. I can just show you here. So it's still liquid, but it's more thick than it was in between when you were mixing it, because it was super liquid. And when you have this kind of mixture, it's maybe like a pudding mixture, you can say, or like a pudding consistency. Like just after you mix pudding, you have this kind of consistency, I would say, and then it's ready. And it just needs to have a properly heated in order for the agar to set. That's basically the main thing you need to keep in mind, that you really have it heated. So I'm just gonna put that now in the freezer again, and then I'm gonna check my my pizza. pizza has already a fantastic smell, and yeah, make sure to take your gloves or something when you take it out. So my oven is a little bit one-sided. You can see it's a little bit darker already here. So that's for me the moment I will turn it around. I have still 3-4 more minutes, and then it's just to make sure it's evenly cooked. And after 3 more minutes we were gonna flip the pizza so it can cook from the other side as well. So I will show you some options there. Now we're gonna make the cherries for our cheesecake. So I'm just gonna quickly wash these up, and then I'm back. So it's good again to have a bowl and a sieve, just to make sure we can separate our cherries from our juice. And I'm gonna give that also a wash. So I'm just gonna use the glass bowls to show it to you. Well, you don't have to use a glass bowl, but it's easier for you to see. So just let me check before we start with that. So these are the these are the cherries which I'm using. I'm not gonna make advertisement for the brand, but yeah, it's good to have these kind of glass cherries which are in their own liquid. And if you don't have them, you can still use frozen ones. Just let them defrost and keep the juice, because the juice is full of flavor and will help us for our topping. So just open them and put them in the sieve. Collect the juice. It's a nice big jar, you can always reuse and yeah, store all kind of things in your pantry. No need to waste. And then I will just keep the cherries aside. And the juice is collected here, and then I'm gonna put it into a small pot. So it's just basically the cherry juice. The cherries are already sweet, so there's actually no need to add sugar. If you're a very sweet tooth, you can add a little bit of sugar, but for my taste it's not needed. And then now the pizza is ready, and I'm just going to show you how to flip it and how we do the next step. So I want you to see something. Great. So that pizza base smells so good, especially the Italian herbs really increase the flavor, and through the heat they release a lot of nice smell. So let me see if I can show it to you. So basically it's sticking to the baking paper right now, and it has a nice golden color crust. It's important that it's not sticky anymore, so you basically can touch it everywhere. And now we're gonna flip that, so that will be our sturdy base, so we can cut it later on. So there are different ways. So I'm gonna put, like, if you're confident, just use another baking paper and flip it around. If that is too much, you can put another baking tray on top and flip the whole baking tray around. That's up to you, but because it's sticking to the baking paper, it's actually fine. So you just take it like that and flip it around. And then carefully remove the baking paper. And you can spot some spots are still like, actually they're quite good already, not really sticky anymore, but they might be still a little bit sticky, so that's why we're cooking it on the other side now, so we have a really steady and strong base. And I put it back for another 10 minutes. I'm just gonna put a little alarm to not forget when 10 minutes are finished. I put 9 minutes. So now we're gonna make the cherries. Cherries are separated already from the juice. Here's my cooking pot with the juice. I start to heat it up, and then in order to make a binding in it, it's similar to a sauce. We just need cornstarch and water. So if you don't have cornstarch, or you don't want to use cornstarch because you're paleo, no problem. Use arrowroot starch, tapioca starch, whatever starch you like. All does the same trick. And then we have the cherries are 670 grams of cherries in a jar. Let me see what's the final weight. Okay, it's not written. Okay, it's not written how much weight of the cherry, what's the net weight. Anyways, so it's also like, I have the liquid, I have the cornstarch. These are 2 tablespoons. I use the measuring spoons, and then I just take 2 tablespoons of water. And I'm gonna mix it. So just carefully mix the starch and the water, and that's all there is to do. Make sure it's like a nice, and it's like it will be this. The starch will be completely dissolved, and will be kind of milky liquid. And that's it. So now you can see it's already boiling nearly. So we bring the juice to a boil, and then we just put our liquid inside. Slowly mix it around, and then switch off the heat. Continue whisking, and a nice thick cherry sauce formed up. Beautiful. So let me put that aside. I'll show you the result. So then we take our cherries and the nice cherry sauce. Also, it's good to take a spatula so you can see it's still liquid, but it's more like a thickened sauce rather than a juice. If you have fresh cherries and you don't have any juice at all, you can still just buy a normal juice, and then you just mix it together. that's it. Keep it aside till our cheesecake is ready. You can put it in the fridge so it sets a little bit faster. Just keep it on the side for now. And now it's time to make our pizza toppings. So the pizza toppings are totally up to you, but I mentioned in the post before which pizza toppings I'm gonna use. I made before a pizza and it's very good. So let me show it to you. I'm gonna take a chopping board and then there we go. So I have a nice big mushroom. Mushrooms are always one of my favorite choices, and I'm just gonna cut it in nice thin slices. Alright, then I'm having some rosemary. I'm just gonna put some of the things on top, and then I'm having a nice onion. You can use brown onions or red onions. Don't worry, the onion smell or flavor is not that strong anymore after baking. And then I'm just gonna cut it also in some nice thin slices. So, and then I have the carrot. A nice trick, I don't put it directly on it, rather I put it a little bit later. I put it into little slices. If I could find my slicer, 1 second. Over here. So just take a little bit of the skin away. Just have a nice slicer, and then you can cut thin slices. But don't put them directly, because otherwise they will be burning. Because we're gonna cook the pizza for another 10 minutes. So, and I'm gonna add a little bit of a liquid smoke. Otherwise, if you don't have liquid smoke, you can just use soy sauce, just to give it a little marination and to get a little bit extra flavor to your pizza. So, just gonna set this all aside, and I'm gonna bring back the pizza now. And then I have tomato mark or tomato paste. You can use anything you like. You can use pesto or any creamy sauce, but don't have it too saucy, so the base will not be too soaky. So I'm just gonna get the base now. That looks really good. You can see it doesn't stick. It's movable. Perfect. It's like a nice crust. And then just start with whatever you like. So I put some of the tomato paste. Just thinly. I'm just gonna stop the video for a minute, so I will not have, so I can actually save the video. So just bear with me a second. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining in again. So I just had to stop the video because you can only make like 1 hour videos, and then I can save it and pin it on our live stories. So what I did is now, anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. Heidi, nice to see you. So I have my base, I have my tomato paste. So now I'm gonna put the mushrooms. And as said before, you can use whatever you like, but in my opinion, mushrooms are always a great choice. So then I'm gonna put some of the rosemary on top, just to get a nice extra flavor. Then I have some of the onions. And then, I mean, you can use vegan cheddar cheese, but I like to use vegan feta cheese. So this is a vegan feta cheese, which really greatly melts on the pizza. So I just take little chunks. I just bought it in the supermarket, so just have a look at your local supermarket what you can get. It's so nice having it melted, gives a nice flavor, some saltiness. There we go. And then I'm just gonna wash my fingers. Now I'm gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top, just to help the baking. Now I pop it back into the oven, and then later on I'll add a little bit of truffle oil, which is nice. These were all my ingredients. I'm gonna bake it for another approximately 10 minutes. Just check on your oven, depends also of course on your ingredients. But after like 5 minutes, I'm gonna add the carrots as well to have a nice extra flavor. And I'm just gonna put these cherries in the fridge and have a small look at the cheesecake. Just stay tuned. So the cheesecake is setting nicely, but it still takes some time. Like, you should definitely count around 1 hour for it to set, or 1.5. The agar which you're putting depends a little bit on how thick is your whole mixture. So I use 15 grams, and I use the yogurt base. So if you have some cream cheese which is much thicker, you could reduce it, or you could even add more than 15 grams than what I did if you want it really thick. So basically the amount of agar will just determine how dense your cake is or how thick it is. The 15 grams are a good measurement for this size. If you have a bigger size or a smaller recipe, you need to adjust it accordingly. And yeah, so that's basically the main things for today. We're just gonna finish baking the pizza. After 2 more minutes, I'm gonna add the carrots, and then the pizza will be ready. But the cheesecake probably will stay a little bit longer in the freezer, and then once it's properly set, I'll make a new small video and show you how to actually cut a cheesecake. Because with cheesecake cutting, yeah, it's on also a little art for itself. And always make sure to have a hot knife. If you have any questions, let me know now. Now's the time. And what else? Yeah, if you have your cheesecake in glasses, it's easy. You can just spoon them out. You can keep them in your fridge for later. If you have, for example, guests for dinner, you can make it even the night before. The cheesecake stays great. And also a good thing about that recipe is you can just keep it in the freezer. So keep a little, like if you slice up your cake and you don't want to eat all at once, you can just keep it in the freezer. And for example, I always like to wrap the pieces single, and then whenever I feel like having something, I just take out one piece and eat it. So now I'm gonna add the carrots on top. So the cheese already started to melt beautifully. The onions start to get brownish. So I'm just gonna add the slices of carrots. They also just give a nice color. And put it back for the remaining 5 minutes. Pizza always is cooked on high heat. So if you have a regular dough pizza, it should be done within like 5 minutes in a proper pizza oven. So don't be shy on really put your oven on high heat in order to get it done. Because you want that crisp in it, and even with that dough is also like it brings you a nice crisp to it. And yeah, so the recipe is basically a low carb recipe, and which is great if you're a little bit looking for your diet or just don't want to eat too much carbs, or even like if you're gluten intolerant or don't want to eat gluten. It's always a great way to substitute, and it's really a nice recipe which will hit all the spots. So you still get that feeling of having a nice pizza, even though it's not 100% like a regular Italian pizza, but it really does a great job. And so the good thing is you can eat plenty of it because it has barely calories, because cauliflower is very low in carb and has very few calories. And you can just, for example, cook 3-4 at a time, and yeah, have them together and with a nice glass of wine and have your Italian feeling. And yeah, so why I'm also interested in low carb is, for example, myself. I was for 3 months on a low carb diet, like very strict, and I lost like 18 kgs, and like it was really great way to lose weight. So I was always looking for low carb recipes, and like this everything with cauliflower is great way to substitute. Like you can do so many things. Also you can fry it, and even if you have seen our first live show, I was doing mac and cheese with cauliflower in it, because cauliflower gives that creaminess, and it's a good way to not have so many nuts, because nuts are high in fat, even though it's yeah, recommended for a low carb diet. But nuts, in particular cashew nuts, are still high actually in carbs, like even though they're high in fat and high in carbs. If you want a low carb nut, you should rather use macadamia nuts. But everything with nuts, that's why also it was important for me to show you a cheesecake recipe without nuts, because most of the vegan recipes are made with like plenty of nuts, and like it's still kind of overload of fat basically. And if you use cashews, there's still plenty of carbs inside. So even our cheesecake is kind of low carb, rather only the non-carb, like the thing with the most carbs inside is the base, but also there you can option for a healthier version or a gluten-free version, and still it's only a small amount. But the cheesecake itself is also a low carb cheesecake, and having natural fruits which are not really sweetened is also a good way to have more sweetness rather than loading it with sugar. Yeah. So if you are looking for more low carb recipes, let me know, and then also later on I will add one picture of the show, and then you can let me know what else you want to see, because every Saturday now I show you nice recipes. What protein do you recommend for pizza topping? So mushrooms, yeah, they are protein. It's always my favorite, and obviously you don't want to add any meat. And what else other than mushrooms? Cheese, vegan cheese also has protein, because yeah, cheese has protein. Or actually even like the vegan cheeses. What else? You can also add what is nice as well as beetroot, but add that after baking. Then olives you can add, and eggplant is also a nice thing to add. Like there's so many different options, whatever you feel like having, or even you can have a vegan sausage on top as a topping. Most of them have also plenty of protein because they're plant-based, made from quinoa or lentils, and we know lentils and quinoa are high in protein as well. So just check the ingredients of what you're buying and make sure it's quite good ingredients to get the nutritional value. I'm just gonna check the pizza again. So that looks really nice. I'm just gonna put it on my plate, on my tray. And then, last but not least, I'm gonna add some truffle oil. Just a little drizzle to get the nice flavor in. And what else? Then you can add, if you have anything fresh, for example spinach or rocket salad, it's nice. So I have a few pieces of basil, and then some spring onions, or you can add some other herbs as well, just to get a nice colorful plate which the whole family or yourself can enjoy. And I think even for kids it's a great recipe to give them that comfort food, but at the same time not have it too unhealthy. And it's also a good way to get the kids into cooking, to help you a little bit, let them choose their toppings. So you can decide what goes on it, but the child still has the opportunity to make their own decision on what goes on their pizza. That looks fantastic. So let me show it to you. And then the good thing is about this recipe, you can take the pizza in your hand. It will not fall apart. There we go. How good that does look. Nice. Really, really nice. Like I really recommend that to put some vegan feta cheese on it. It melts beautifully. Otherwise, some shredded cheese. So, I hope you like this show. For the cheesecake, I'm gonna put a small video up later on once the cheesecake is fully set. I think it takes another half an hour or so, and then I will gonna show you how to cut out the cheesecake. So, thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, if you want to have anything specific for the next time, also put it in the comments on the Insta story I'm gonna put up. Alright, see you! So, honest, I just wanted to give you a quick update on the cheesecake. Hello. I'm just gonna save the video so everyone can have a look later on. And yeah, so this is our set cheesecake now, and it's really nice and beautiful. And so in order to get it out of the ring now, it's good to start with okay, some more people are coming. Please join. I'm going to show you how to demold the cheesecake. And so important thing is have a glass of hot water. Then I take a small knife and just go slightly to the edge. So I go on the edge and then cut around. Okay. And in order to flip it, I put a piece of baking paper. Turn it around. Take away the paper. And flip it back. So now I'm having my cheesecake ready, and slowly take it up. Perfect. So you can see it's set, really great consistency. And then I'm just gonna cut it now. So I have a hot water and a big knife. It's important to keep the blade wet. So then just go in, push down on the ground, and then hold the cheesecake here and slide out the knife into the back. So don't go up, just take it out. Make sure you have some space behind you, and then again into the middle, down, and then go to the back, go to the back. You hear like a little crunch when you cut through the bottom. Keep the cheesecake here and go back. Just make sure it's not too wet, just like slightly, so it goes perfectly through the cake. And go to the back. And last one. And slide to the back. Nice. So I'm having my plate here, and just gonna take a nice piece of cake. And these are the cherries we did previously. So now they're really like a nice mixture, thick mixture, and then you just pop them on top. Carefully let it a little bit go down. Nice. So you have that perfect New York cheesecake. And there we go. So now we need to try, of course, if it's also really good. Really nice. It has this cheesy flavor, typical cheesecake cheesy flavor, and like it's just perfect, with a little bit of sourness from the cherries, and gives it a just nice flavor combination. You can also top it with something else, but cherries are always a good option. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna post the whole video, and then yeah, you can cook it whenever you want.
See you.